Important notice: the following content may be triggering. Viewer discretion is advised. All discussions are based on personal opinions and experiences. If you or someone you know needs help, please reach out to a local support organization.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to Through the Eyes of Survivors Uncensored. We're bringing truth to light, and even when it's uncomfortable, it's going to be raw, hard to hear sometimes. But today we're talking about some very crucial topics. We're going to take you on a journey through 3 different stories that are vastly different on the surface, but are deeply connected in their core. What happens when someone gets thrown out on Mother's Day, or a group of young boys who get targeted by a predator on Snapchat, and globally a recognized music mogul accused of sexual assault and trafficking all have in common? Well, I'm here to tell you what they have in common. It's power, and it's silence, and it's the courage it takes to shatter both. So this episode is what happens when abusers hide blame behind fame and technology and influence, and how survivors are rising up anyway. It's about a mother who was gaslit until they doubted their own worth, and children who are groomed into shameful silence, and women who endured years of torment behind closed doors until one day they say enough. These stories aren't just clickbait. They're cries for help that finally have broken through. And they are proof that truth will always find its way out. So even when it's been buried for years, and at Break the Silence, we know the cost of silence. We know the power that comes from anyone who dares to speak out. So today, we're not just unpacking the headlines, we're exposing patterns, the warning signs, the systems that enable abuse, and most importantly, the survivors who refuse to stay silent. So stay with us. My lovely co-host Amanda Johnson is here with us, and we're going to let her rip. But first, just a quick word about our affiliates. We have a new affiliate, Truth Finder. I want to take a moment to talk to you about something that really can empower you on your journey towards safety and healing. It's called Truth Finder. It's a simple tool that helps you uncover public records and background information about people you may encounter in your life. Whether you're reconnecting with someone from your past or just want to ensure the people around you are trustworthy, Truth Finder provides you with the information you need to make informed decisions. I have used it before. It's a wonderful source. And here at Through the Eyes of Survivors, we're all about creating safe spaces and giving survivors tools they need to reclaim their power. That's why we're excited to share Truth Finder with you. It's a tool that helps you take control of your own security and peace of mind. So to try it out and support our podcast, visit the link in the description or in the comment section, and thank you for supporting that mission. Of course, always our affiliate Opus Clip. If you ever want to take your long form content into short viral clips, Opus Clip is a game changer. You'll find that affiliate link down below as well. And also, we want to promote something special that Break the Silence is doing. So mark your calendars, June 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, because we're hosting a powerful virtual movie night featuring the movie Scars Unseen. It's an unforgettable film by She TV Media. We did a podcast with them, so go check it out about more details on that. This isn't just a movie, it's a movement, one that brings untold survivor stories to light. So tickets are $25 and the proceeds support the mission here at Break the Silence around abuse. You can get your ticket through the link that will be in the description and in the comments. And don't forget also, we're promoting that as a movie pizza night. So we have a fundraiser through Little Caesars Pizza to kick off that day as well. So you can order yourself a pizza through the links below as well as that on that day and help support Break the Silence as well. Help us raise our voices. So again, that's June 6th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, featuring Scars Unseen, and the tickets will be $25. And yeah. Also, we start our Little Caesars fundraiser, and that will take place the whole month for a whole month into July. So let's get into our topics today, Amanda. So, what's the first one that we're going to be diving into?
Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be diving into is an incident that happened with Lil Wayne and his now ex, Denise, and I believe I'm going to say this wrong, but I'm going to try, is Bidot. So basically, just a little bit of recap. She is a model and a TV personality, and she was dating a very famous rapper, as we all know, as Lil Wayne. And on Mother's Day, she claimed that he physically kicked her and her daughter out of his house, that he assaulted her, and that she basically just had surgery and was just kicked out of nowhere, broken up through text, and had his assistants just kind of kick her and her daughter out. And she made a very public post about this, letting everybody know, hey, this is what's been going on, and it's Mother's Day, and this person kicked me and my daughter out on the road. So that's basically what we're kind of talking about right now is how these big celebrities have these issues. And then now that we have such like TikTok and Facebook to do these live videos, they're being exposed quickly.
Well, it's they're just people, right? They put their pants on just like we do, right?
Absolutely.
But it's just more of the public eye, and
Absolutely.
so it's talking about their situation helps to raise awareness to something that we as survivors have all been exposed to. Happens every day for us, and it doesn't even make the news, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So we would love for any listeners, please comment in, engage with us. We'll read your comments on the air, so please, whatever you feel about the topic, join in with us. But so he kicked her out on Mother's Day, you
Yes,
said?
along with her daughter. And she was saying that her daughter's birthday, and I don't believe this was his daughter that they had together. I believe this was her child, but they were still living in the same household, and this child knew this house as home, right? And probably referred to him as a parent figure or some kind of figure in her life, and they kicked her out. On Mother's Day, broke up with her through text, so I'm assuming he wasn't there, and he just had his assistants come in and start packing her stuff up because she said she just had surgery, so she couldn't be lifting things. But then she began to say different things, like he would gaslight her daily, call her different horrible names. So, and it also turned to where people were saying, is she saying this now because he kicked her out and she's upset? Or, is this really something that, is real? And that's kind of what's been on both sides of the talking points with this. Is could it be an ex who's bitter because there was something going on and she wouldn't leave, so he did have to have intervention of getting her out? Or was it truly a domestic violence situation where he was gaslighting her and she was stuck, and then one day he kicked her to the curb with no kind of, warning? And those both are very, possible things in this scenario, and I see that, and that's what people have been talking about. But I definitely fulfill, as you said, Tara, they put their pants on the same way we do. They just have a talent that makes more money than we do with some of our talents, right? And that's really the way we got it. So it doesn't mean just because he's Lil Wayne doesn't mean that he doesn't have an abusive side either.
And it doesn't mean just because he's Lil Wayne, she isn't bringing this out, especially right now in this atmosphere, because we know, like we're going to touch on later, some other celebrities that is very hot, with P. Diddy later, that she maybe isn't taking advantage of this. So it's hard to tell.
It's hard. And it is, because we always want to give all survivors credit, and we definitely want to make sure everybody's heard. But there is sometimes where there is incidents or relationships where the person will not leave, and the person has to take extreme measures to get that person to leave, and it catches eyes because there's police there escorting them out, and so they really could change the narrative on you and be like, and really he was just trying to get this person out of his household that may have been abusive to him or to his situation, and he left so that he was not, maybe he felt safe texting her to break up. That's things that ran through my head too. And he was having his assistants move out. I'm thinking, if he really was, and then you could play devil's advocate, right? Well, if he truly was abusive, he wouldn't give a crap about her surgery and say, because we know how we've been in those positions. I know I have, where I don't care about you. You figure it out.
Right.
So for his assistant, Stevie, even coming in and, helping her get her stuff out too. That's another argument I think people could have. At least he's having people, assist with her. So it's a different situation. But I definitely feel when we are celebrities, and then you have more of a bigger following, as she was a model and stuff, it's a split division. I think so as well, when they're both in the limelight of things. We have some comments from Jim.
Yes, yes. So Jim says, unfortunately, celebrities can no longer be lifted up as role models, at least the majority of them. I have to agree with that, because yeah, they definitely can't. And he also pointed out something. Either way, how cold-hearted and evil can a man be to do such a thing on Mother's Day? See, and that's a key. Why would you do it on Mother's Day? If you just couldn't take any more of her, why not wait till the day after?
Correct.
Right.
Well, and that's another valid, absolutely. It's another valid agreement. I think both ways, and I agree. Why would you pick such a monument day? Why would you pick the day after or the day before?
Yeah, well, you're disrupting the mother and a child.
And that's where I definitely, again, feel first situation is the child. The child can't control the way the mother acts, and she can't control the way that the mother who is with acts. So ultimately, the victim in this situation, in my heart, is this poor little girl.
Is that little girl.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She looked like she was a preteen, which is her friends are on social media. That's, again, where my head goes, right? So there's her mom, and she's with Lil Wayne, who everybody knows who Lil Wayne is, whether you're 13 or 15. And Lil Wayne is a very big rapper. So her friends are going, oh, I saw what your mom posted. And, that little girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. We have Audrey says it's always has to be about them. They are thieves and rob their victims of everything good.
Yes.
Yeah, it if you're dealing with a narcissistic personality, especially, they
Oh yeah,
don't think about
they don't do
anybody
that.
but themselves.
And holidays, I agree with Audrey. Anything good and holidays like birthdays, that's your birthday. Anything that honors you, like Mother's Day, anniversary, they will
Oh, they'll
find
snap
a way
the
to ruin
life
it.
right out of it.
Yeah,
That
they'll
all the
pick a
joy.
fight out of nothing. They'll pick a fight over the most dumbest thing on that day just to make sure you don't enjoy that day. And it's so silly because you get caught up and you're like, wow. So I agree, Audrey. So that is a big thing. It is Mother's Day that this happens. So that is a big thing, I think.
I think that's around that maybe this scenario definitely can shed a light on is that for any victims, they will tell you the similar story of how every holiday was turned into a traumatic event.
Everyone.
Every holiday. And
Everyone.
so if you've experienced that or are experiencing that, you are not alone in that. That is a common experience for survivors.
Absolutely.
Um, and then you spend years trying to recover from that. I mean, we were talking about that
We were
earlier.
talking about that. Yeah. I still struggle with my birthday. I still struggle with Christmas because those were days that I loved prior to my abuse. And he made sure those were ruined. So and it takes, even we were talking to another survivor who's been out longer than I have, and it takes years, guys. So don't be too hard on yourself if you're a survivor still struggling, because and you even said, Tara, some birthdays are really good. And then next year it's like, nope, not for me this year. So,
No,
yeah,
it's crazy. So it will be interesting to watch and see how this one develops.
develops. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and see what happens with that. Because right now it's still kind of a up in the air because there's no charges or anything in
No, there was no charges.
place.
Yeah, so basically it was kind of more of just the after settle of how people were perceiving this,
Yeah.
and it makes it look on his reputation at this time, obviously being such a big rapper and being known for so long. So, but again, we have something later that is much more.
Oh, I know. Definitely hang around for that one on the
Yeah,
third
yeah,
segment.
for
But yeah,
sure.
absolutely. So, was there anything else we wanted to point out about this situation here in
No,
particular?
I just think again, guys, as we said, and I'm glad that Jim brought it up, that highlighted this case was it was done on a holiday. So if you were with someone and he's not even putting his hands on you, but anytime you have something joyous like a work party or you get something at like a work, certificate or anything that's celebrating you that doesn't put the focus primarily on them, that's a red flag.
Right. Absolutely. And I think this story reminds us too that emotional abuse is often really hidden by
Mhm.
smiles to the public. And that can
Absolutely.
be people who aren't famous as well. No one's immune to that. So no matter how strong they appear, they could be struggling with something in the background and you just never know.
Absolutely.
And we believe in listening to survivors and standing with them because it takes a village, right? So
Absolutely.
before we jump into our next story, we're going to take a quick minute to hear about volunteering with us and how to become a part of the movement here at Break the Silence, one survivor at a time. So Amanda's going to play a quick clip and stay tuned because our next one we're going to be talking about a sextortion case that is happening. So stay with us. All right. Thank you. And we're back. Definitely check us out at our website, btsadv.org, and check out volunteering with us. We can use volunteers. They're all remote positions, even helping like here at the podcast, be a moderator if you would like to do that. We would love to have you. So please volunteer. So, our next case, we're going to specifically talk about one out of New York, but I have read about the same thing happening in this last month in at least 6 different schools. So, this has become an epidemic at this point. So this sextortion case is out of New York, and it was a lacrosse coach who's 20 years old who allegedly posed as a teenage girl on Snapchat to coerce young boys, some of them as young as 13, into sending explicit content. And authorities said there were at least 30 victims that had been identified. So, you want to talk a little bit more about that, Amanda?
Yeah. So this case really it just really bothers me. So basically, as Tara said, this is a lacrosse coach. His name is Joseph Graffio. And again, he was posing as a teenage girl named Julie. And what's really odd about this case is you can't find any pictures of this guy, but you usually are able to see when someone is arrested. They will have a
Yeah,
photo.
that's really odd about this case.
And this case is really bothering me, and I'm going to tell you guys why. Me and Tara really did our research trying to just find a picture. Because normally when we pull up these articles, we get pictures of either if it's like just a normal picture of them or
Oh, yeah.
a photo, and we couldn't find anything. And these young boys did not get that privacy for their photos not to be exploited. But we are keeping this person who's done this photo private, and that is very disheartening. It is so hard right now because Tara, I keep seeing this, and I'm a mother. I have a 12-year-old son, and I have 2 teenage daughters, 13 and 15. And I see this a lot, especially with teenage boys, is this extortion. And again, this is in cases all over the place where someone will pose, as we're saying, and then they're having them send pictures, but then they're telling them that they have these pictures and they're threatening them with these pictures. And these
And this has happened boys and girls. This is
boys and girls,
happening across
absolutely
the
all
board.
over the place. And I had to have this conversation with my children because there are children, people's children committing suicide over this
Mm-hmm.
because they are so afraid. Not because of mental health issues, or they are so afraid that their life is going to get ruined, or they're going to, because they don't know how to act. These people are silently going after our children in the background, and this is just disgusting. And right now, like, the parents have been trying to again, get help and to make sure that this isn't going to happen again. But this case has just been really mind-boggling to me because I looked it up again today, and there hasn't been much on it or what has proceeded. I know that he denied that any of the counts of this happening. I know that his family is supporting him. That was said in one of the articles I did read today.
Yes.
His family is behind him.
The family offered to bail him out with $1.5 million, and thank God the judge had a good enough sense to say no.
And these boys were literally, and again, like Tara and me were talking about this. These boys are like crying, pleading with this man to not do this.
Yeah, so he and this is typical across the board. So what he did is pretty standard. He catfished his victims into taking these photos, very benign photos at first, right? And then he escalated into taking certain kinds of pictures. And then once he got certain kinds of pictures from them, he blackmailed them. You've got to send me more. I'm going to put these pictures all over the school. I'm going to send them to your parents. I'm going to put these everywhere for your teachers to see. And what he was doing was grooming them, of course, right? Into shame and silence and getting more, getting more explicit material. And what he was doing with it was selling it in back channels with child pornography. Now, some of them, will do send me money too. if they're old enough, they're making money in it as well. But he was like, whew, the police report said that these children, he videoed them literally crying, saying, "Please don't make me do this," and then having them do it on video anyway. It wasn't just pictures.
No.
So it for me, that was very triggering to hear.
Yeah. I just, yeah, as a mother, as a human being, with, I just can't. That, and I mean, Tara, I just read that like over 3,000 minors were victims of this in 2023 alone.
Yeah, and it's growing.
It's just, and it's doubled in the recent years. So this is something that I think parents definitely have to be aware of. Definitely teach your children the red flags of it. Let them know that it's okay if they do mess up and something like that happens.
So let's go over some of the red flags, right?
Mhm.
So what are some of the red flags? Number one, if your children are hiding their phone from you, check your children's phones.
Yeah.
See who they are contacting.
Yeah.
Now, this was through Snapchat, so that's one of the things you really want to monitor is Snapchat. Who are they conversing with on Snapchat? And I know that's harder to watch, but parents have to be really diligent about those kinds of things. But then when you see a change in your child's personality, their emotional state, you've got to question what's going on and something wrong and have those conversations with your children, because that's the
Absolutely.
key. Because a lot of times with something like this, there's definitely going to be a personality change that is happening for
Oh,
them. Their
absolutely.
grades drop. They are not spending as much time with their friends. Things like that are all signs to watch for. That something is,
Even if they're
going on.
agitated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if
So,
their attitude is like more agitated, or if they seem really kind of jumpy, or yeah, for
mhm.
sure.
And boys report this a whole lot less than girls. So you need to keep that in mind.
Yes.
So when
Yes.
they prey on boys, especially, boys are less likely to come forward with what has happened than girls are. So we have
Absolutely.
we have to equip our parents and our teachers and coaches better. But this man was a coach.
He
So
was. He was
yeah.
an assistant lacrosse coach. Yes, so he was a trusted figure. That was
Mm,
supposed to be. Let me rephrase that. He was supposed to be a trusted figure at the school. So, and I mean that is really disheartening to me, especially when parents, like, we have to send our children to school. We don't have a choice, right? And so when you
mm.
send them to public school and then you want your children to be able to enjoy the perks of public school, like lacrosse and football and different sports, you want to be able to trust that those people that are going to be having contact with your children on that school ground is going to be safe people.
Right. Jim asked, um, who do you contact when you see this? Well, of course, first thing you want to do is contact your authorities,
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
when it's involving someone who is in authority, like this man was with the school.
Yeah,
Uh, so definitely you want to contact the authorities and see what you can do. You also, talking with your children, the hard conversation, finding out if there's other people they know of,
yes.
because
Yeah.
sometimes they will know of other people who've fallen victim to the same person.
And I agree with Audrey. Parents need to monitor the video game chat rooms as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
because those have become very dangerous as
Very
well.
dangerous. Roblox is, yeah, different. Fortnite, guys. Make sure that, yeah, and the children don't have to chat on those games. There's are ways that there is to monitor and be, it's, yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Yes, because they come in hidden. They
They do.
pretend to be other kids when
Yeah,
they're not kids. You can't guarantee that who the person your kid is talking to is a child.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think another thing too is that we can, as we said, equip teachers and coaches to maybe look for signs like this. If they see like maybe a coach taking to one particular child and them continuously being around that child a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that child is continuously going to that coach, not paying attention to other adults, very much seems like even if it seems friendly, watch even the child's responses, because a child will tell you by the way they react to different adults on they're comfortable with or who or they're not comfortable with. And sometimes a child could be being groomed but think that the teacher is being nice. And I think as an adult, it's our duty to be able to tell the difference and be able to say, no, that's not an
Mm-hmm.
adult being nice to you. That adult's being a little bit inappropriate.
Well, and I always like to tell parents this is something that my husband and I used to teach all the time to parents and within youth groups as well. That's when we started finding this out years ago, that people don't realize. But at 11 years old, half your children have been exposed to some kind of a sexual activity.
Yep.
At 11. And by the time they're 15, 80% of them have engaged in it activity, sexual activity. So uh, you can't put blinders on to what is happening with our children.
No.
So, I mean, to me, that was very shocking the first time I saw that from government documents. 11 years old. I nearly fell out. 11, half of them.
I know. I know it's still, as a mother, to me, that was something that I had to grasp on quick, because my kids would come home and tell me things and I would be like, what age? So I can testify, Tara, that is very much something. And I think that it is uncomfortable, guys. I know it's uncomfortable to talk about sex and to talk about certain things, and we think our kids are too young for it. They're not. Have those uncomfortable conversations before they get into something uncomfortable that they don't feel comfortable talking about. So much worth having those uncomfortable conversations with them and knowing that you can have that with them and feel safe, and them go into uncomfortable things and not feel safe having those conversations with you. That's where it makes the difference. And it's uncomfortable as parents. Sometimes we really don't want to have them, but we have to, because it really saves our children from things that we could have prevented.
Hmm. See, and what I think of is, of course, I'm an older generation here, but like, when we were kids, it was very much the stranger danger, right? Stranger
Right, right.
danger. Someone's going to snatch you off a sidewalk, and in all of our brains, that's still, of course, it's a valid thing still, but you don't realize that
That
this is what
that's the
strangers are coming through now. They're not
instant.
coming in some van and snatching you off the
No,
sidewalk as
like
much
they,
anymore. They're
yeah.
coming through this.
And they're not coming in the ways they're snatching you either. They're coming in ways where they're making your children trust them so
Yes.
that they will. There was just a girl. Um, I am from the Pittsburgh area, and I still follow the news from there. And there was a girl who had a grown man from Philadelphia buy an Uber to go all the way to Pittsburgh from Philadelphia. Is like a 6-7 hour drive, and then have that Uber bring her all the way back from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia. This little girl was 13.
Hmm. Yeah.
That blew my mind. And the mother woke up to this, and I couldn't even imagine the mother, like the panic. So again, as Tara said, he didn't have to come pick her up. He
Hmm.
didn't have to even walk past her to grab her. He made sure he had, a car come get her. The access to these children just because of that phone
Hmm.
is
Well,
more.
and they don't always keep them. Like you
No.
said, they'll return them,
Yep.
and they'll keep doing it over and over and
And
over
over
again.
again.
And your
Yep.
children are being quiet and silenced about it because of
Then
the
they're
shame.
coming.
Hmm.
Some of these children are not even talking, and they're saying they're going to a friend's house when they have an incident, and and to live with that, can't imagine.
Absolutely. We got
Yeah.
some more comments. Says educate children at home about what is appropriate and inappropriate, communicate with them, and ask questions regularly. Absolutely. And Audrey said that's the scariest part. Yeah, it is. It's really scary.
It is. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, um, we're going to take another quick break to talk about our store. We have a store. You can help support Break the Silence in our store. So, this case reminds us that we must show an effort to raise awareness, right? Even though it's heartbreaking and infuriating what we're learning. But if you're moved by what you hear today, you can help us by supporting our Survivor store, and every purchase helps fund our outreach programs, events, and healing programs, and is an impact for domestic violence survivors. Let's hear a word about the store, but please come back, because now we're right after that brief break of the store. We're going to talk about Cassie and P. Diddy. So stay tuned. We hope you're enjoying this episode of Through the Eyes of Survivors. We wanted to pause for a moment and let you know that Through the Eyes of Survivors has a shop now open. And this is a great way for you to not only help survivors of domestic violence, but also let everyone know that you will not be silent about this important cause. From t-shirts to bags to coffee mugs, we have so much to choose from. To grab your swag, head to our store at breakthesilencedv.org. That's store.breakthesilencedv.org. We can't say enough about how much we appreciate all that the community does to help support us and this organization. So we hope you've enjoyed this episode and continue to subscribe to future episodes. Thank you. We hope you're enjoying this episode.
Important notice: the following content may be triggering. Viewer discretion is advised. All discussions are based on personal opinions and experiences. If you or someone you know needs help, please reach out to a local support organization.
And we are back. We decided to play that little trigger warning again here just before we got into P. Diddy, because I know that has been quite a topic. It has been on everybody's minds. So if you haven't heard, singer Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs, alleging sexual assault, years of abuse, drug-fueled control, and being forced to sleep with other male sex workers and him film it. Federal agents back in March of last year, 2024, raided his homes in connection with human trafficking and sexual assault investigations, and now it's in the courtroom. So, Amanda, you want to take it from here?
Yes. So Cassie just finished up being in the courtroom last week, but she was in for, I believe, 3 days. And it was very kind of a big topic to watch, because before Diddy was arrested, we all saw that horrible video of Cassie trying to escape what we now know was a freak off. What they were talking about was going on during these parties and everything that he was having, and she was trying to escape. And there was a video released prior to P. Diddy being arrested at the hotel where she was going to the elevator, and he ran out and started beating her. And it was a big eye opener, because you can clearly tell it was him. And he came out, did a kind of an apology video, if you want to call it that. And then he was arrested shortly after. For, again, all of different charges, as Tara said, of sex trafficking and different things. But really what stuck out at the beginning of this trial was Cassie's case. And really what kind of sticks out to us as survivors. She was also 8.5 months pregnant when she had to do her testimony. So she was just about to give birth. She has not saw this man in 6 years until she walked into this courtroom. And this was very big because she, again, was able to come out and talk about things that happened more in depth of how, again, she was being forced to sleep with different sex workers, how she was made to do things that, again, that no woman should do. But she also, when she was cross-examined, they were asking her different questions on things where she was able to give insight as a domestic violence survivor. And one that hit home with me, they were asking why she was agreeing to do all of this horrendous things. And she said, and they said she started crying, was the only way that she could have that time with him, and the only time that she felt that she was doing something right by him. And I think that all of us as survivors can relate to that. We definitely just want to please our abusers at a point that if we can make them happy with us, we will go down to the depths of the things. And this poor girl was put through so much. And now, not only was she able to come out about it, but there's a lot of famous people. A singer from Danity Kane that was one of P. Diddy's bands came out and spoke about watching the abuse. A lot of people that had professional relationships with them are now speaking out. So this really kind of turned into a big thing for domestic violence as well with this case, because she really was able to speak her truth with everything that was going on, but also have the support from other people. And I think that was big to see right now. So it's very, very, was humbling to watch. So that's kind of where it started, was with, again, her lawsuit, and then more people coming out behind saying what happened to them.
Well, and there were a lot of testimony too. There was some testimony for people who worked for him, who saw incidents too. So, it showed a big light on how people can become accessories to the fact, who don't even say anything about it, that are even your coworkers, your friends, everything. People wonder, well, how do these people get involved like that? And then they don't say anything. Well, here you go. This case shines a big light on that.
Power and demand. Yeah.
But even without power, this happens every day.
Absolutely.
Even without power, friends see it and they say nothing. Coworkers see it. Other family members will help facilitate certain things and move it along like it's nothing. Like this is just something every day. Happens every day.
I mean, he had people in his community, like there's his, I don't know, like in his community, I guess, like when he would beat her and do certain things for her, they would make sure that like it was taken care of. Like, I mean, if they needed more drugs and she had to be sedated, he would go get people to do more things. Like he continuously had someone behind him helping him do this stuff to her. And I agree, Tara, that doesn't have to be famous people either. Narcissists make a community of friends, and they build a personality to that community. So when they're hurting you and you go to that community, they think you're crazy, or they think that you're the initiative. I've been there, and you are not crazy. You are not anything, but it is very common for abusers to build up people against you and behind to use power against you in that sense.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. And that's what I'm saying. I just feel so bad for her in this circumstances, because when you, and again, we're going to go back around to like when you are famous and you have all that stuff at your fingertips that other abusers who are not famous do, it's much more dangerous for those women too, because it's like 6 years come out and she had to hold this in, like, and she had to see him on music awards, and she had to see this man being praised. I mean, he got a key to a city, like within the past couple, I can remember him from the time I was in 5th grade. So this man has been around for longer than that. I mean, it's just, he's been in the background of, so everybody's known him by different names, different things. And this girl has to see him as this man that beat her and, and who's ruined her life, and he is still on top. And that has to be, and now watching it come down, but I give her so much prop because of the power she has to go in there, again, pregnant, because when you're pregnant and you're having to stand in front of your abuser, that is so.
But I think the key thing out of everything that I have seen and heard and read about what she has said and testified to, the main thing was for her to express all of this went on for so long because she loved him.
Mhm.
She loved
She
him.
loved him. She loved him.
And how many times have we done that?
I
As
know.
when we think back of our time,
Absolutely.
we that was the excuses we used. We loved
Yeah.
them. We loved them, and a love beyond measure to the point of you do anything. And
Absolutely.
it didn't start out as grandiose as we hear everything now with all the baby oil and the freak offs and everything. It started at a smaller place and it
Right.
escalated
It
and escalated.
escalated, and she got to a point where there was no return, and that's usually how that starts.
Mhm. No, absolutely.
And you
And
do. You
people
do.
find themselves in that position all the time. And even in
Absolutely.
this, it's not unique. You know how many survivors, and like we were again having this conversation, Amanda, of like my ex wanted to my abuser wanted to swing.
Yes.
No
Yes.
different.
No
No,
different. No
and I had
different.
to say, "No, no, we're not doing that," but he
Mhm.
pushed and pushed and pushed that
Oh,
envelope all the time.
yes.
All the
Yes.
time.
And
And
you're too.
it was about power. It was
It
about
was.
control.
It was. And then you would find yourself even like, and I even talked like my ex is a sex addict and he had a sex addiction and he was trying to find ways through power through that. And I believe that was a form of his power and abuse, was that sex addiction and doing certain things. And I can remember like and all my morals and beliefs knowing it's wrong, but kind of like feeling bad for rejecting it because I thought I was making him feel bad, or I was like second guessing myself, and I'm not, and it's because again and I did things that I would never want to do with someone in my abusive relationship because again I loved him and
Mhm,
I wanted him to love me the way that I loved him. So I thought that I kept appeasing his wants and his desires. We would get there someday. And
mhm,
that's a lie. We tell ourselves in that too, but we don't have to be blamed for that because, again,
mhm.
Tara, as you said, it doesn't start from a bad place. Like, he didn't first meet her and say,
Well,
"Here's the baby oil. Let's go do this now." Like,
no,
there was
no.
memories made. Even if it was false on his end, to her, those
Mhm.
were real. Even if
It
it was a
it's the
facade,
little things of, "This will make our relationship so much
it's
better."
stronger. Yeah.
And stronger,
Yeah.
and you will be satisfying all my needs and
Please.
all my
And
fantasies.
how do you know he didn't say others done this for him? Like he's dated high profile women. So like all of his life, I mean, he was with Jennifer Lopez for years. He always had high profile relationships. So how does he not know like, well, the other women in the past done this for me? And then you feel
Mhm,
if other people have done this for him in the past. So it yeah, it was something, as Tara, I agree. It was something that was slowly introduced through manipulation and coursing. It wasn't something that she woke up to the next day, and it wasn't her fault. He had it planned, and they
well, and
normally.
how many women before her, right? Well, my ex did this for me. Why won't you do this for
Right, exactly. If he's saying, well, I had this because I had that happen to me
me?
all
Mhm,
the time. But I also had his hexes compared and held over my head. So when I would hear that ex brought up, then the part of my brain would be triggered to like want to be better than the ex because I was always compared to her.
mhm. Yes,
It
absolutely, and that's
was
something you shouldn't have to live up to.
no, not at all. They can't
Not
love
at
you for
all.
you, then why are we together?
Right.
you
And his
know?
case is to an extreme because you combine that obvious sex addiction with his addiction to have power and control and more power and more
So scary.
control.
So
I
dangerous.
mean, in very powerful places
So
because he
dangerous.
also controlled her record contracts. She was contracted for 11 albums. They only did one.
Yeah. And she was really talented. Like I remember when she came out because I was in high school when Cassie came out, and we loved her music, but then she went away for a moment, and then the next thing I saw of her was with him. I do clearly
Mhm.
remember that. And he chose her style and nail color, nail polish, and everything. Like he branded her. It wasn't even like, I'm gonna help you and we'll style you. He rebranded her. And I even saw someone, he has a friend I that did a news interview for him, and they questioned him on that, about how he controlled her style. And he said, well, as a music mobile, you have to have, your artist is dressed a certain way, and and it was just very much kind of condescending back of like, and no, it wasn't like, it was a whole different makeover of her, personality and everything. It wasn't her anymore.
Right. And with him, he did that to everyone around him. It didn't matter. You signed a record contract, he did that with you. He did that escalation of what he did with the freak offs and everything was such we're not even touching the surface. This is just one person that he's abused in this way,
Oh my
and
gosh,
there's
yes.
so many other people.
So many others.
Oh, we can't even, like, we could name them, but, like,
No.
but she
Allegedly, there's so
yeah,
many. Allegedly, there's so many others.
but she's the one who has the courage
The courage to come out, and
to come
she,
out.
yeah,
Yeah, and there's some others testifying that have the courage to come out as well, and I just praise them for their courage, and I hope any other people out there who have been abused or misused by not just him, but other people, um,
in
whether
general.
it's in that industry or not, you find the courage and strength that this woman has, 8 months pregnant, sitting up there on that stand telling her story.
Absolutely. And I do. I give her so much courage, and she has a very supportive husband who has been very, big on talking about domestic violence and was there. And that does make all the difference when survivors have that support too. So that was really, a wonderful thing to see, is when we are able to speak our truth, but also have support behind us when we're speaking our truth. So
Yes. Let's see. We got a few comments we'll show here. Says many people knew what was going on and didn't report it. Why? Fear, not wanting to get involved, or what? How could anyone know about this and not stop it? Yeah, absolutely. Well, and even for her, like we were saying, she didn't just love him, but her whole contract,
yes,
her livelihood was all tied up with
it
him.
was. And there was actually a report called one time where the neighbors called. They heard her, and she would not cooperate with the police, which is a normal thing for again, he was P. Diddy. If she would have cooperated, she knew. I mean, this isn't like us outing our exes if they're not famous. This is P. Diddy. This would have been all over the place. So I think she felt more threatened. But yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard too. They did talk about there was a call made, but she denied, police help. But we've all been there too. So don't feel bad if you've been in that place. It's a hard thing to get through.
Absolutely. And
Iris.
Audrey said, yeah, Iris is in there too. Audrey
Oh,
said no
yeah.
one wants to get involved.
Yes.
And then Jim again, as Americans, if we want this type of behavior to stop in our country, we must get back to teaching our children the value of true morality. We must, as a society, rise up against this type of behavior anytime it appears, and do it in a major and definitive way. I agree. Absolutely. And
Agree.
Iris, yes, I'm proud. We are very proud of
For
Cassie's
sure.
courage, because
Yes.
that took a lot, considering how in depth her story. Who wants to admit half of what she admitted on that stand?
No, and
And
she,
yeah, and to take that kind of cross examination as well that she had to take, that's nobody wants to go through that.
she's a mother, a wife, and she just made every survivor proud doing that with the courage she had to. It just, yeah, that's something we're always proud to see as survivors, is when people bring this to light, especially.
Absolutely. Um, and I think that's part of it too. Like, the authorities, there could be more coming down the pike. They took in so much. I hope
Oh, yes.
they do.
There is, and I believe we'll be
Stop
seeing
there.
more. I think there will be more to come. I mean, they have more testimonies coming in. It's just watching hers was very, very powerful to see. But I am glad that society is able to see stuff like this, even when it's in the celebrity world. I don't want it to happen, but we're glad that people are taking a stance and saying things.
Well, this with part of why we decided to do uncensored was to pick topics like this because we can take it clear down to it doesn't matter that it's in the news as big as it is. This is happening to everyday people as well. This is not just limited to somebody who, is a big mogul who has tons of money and record deals and can pay people off to keep them quiet. This happens out there
A
with your
lot,
neighbor,
a
even.
lot.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yes.
So, anything else you want to say to tie this one up?
No, I just again speak your truth and remember that it doesn't matter how high or powerful they are. You are worth things. You are worthy of being safe. You are worthy of being protected, and you are worthy of getting the truth and protection that you deserve as a survivor. So I think this is what the P. Diddy trial kind of teaches as well. It doesn't matter if you are a millionaire or if you're just a simple person that's just living an everyday life.
Yeah,
You're worth being safe.
right. Absolutely. So, we're going to wrap up this episode. So, we've heard three stories today, while each one had its own face and voice. The message is the same, right? Abuse doesn't discriminate. It hides in luxury mansions, schools, even behind platinum records.
Mhm.
But no matter where it happens, it leaves the same scars and fear and shame and silence. So Denise stayed quiet because she feared of losing her daughter and being judged to speak out her truth against a celebrity. And there were boys who were manipulated into silence because they were too ashamed to admit what was being done to them. And Cassie carried her trauma in secret for years while the world celebrated the very man who harmed her. But in every single one of these stories, something incredible happened. Somebody spoke up. Someone decided fear wouldn't win and that they deserved better. That truth matters more than the reputation, their comfort, or even their safety. So uh, that's what makes survivors unstoppable. And here's what I want every listener to remember: you are not crazy, you are not alone, and it is not too late for you to take back your story. Whether you're still in the thick of it or just beginning to heal, know your voice has power more than ever. And allow yourself to believe that. And for those who are watching from sidelines, unsure of how to help, the time of silence is over. Speak out. You can volunteer, share these stories, support organizations who are doing the good work because silence is where abuse thrives, but it's also where it dies when we choose to speak out. And head over to btsadv.org, share your story, donate, or find a place in our movement, subscribe, and share in the comments. And share this podcast with someone you believe needs to hear it. And always remember, survivors don't owe the world their pain, but when they share it, they change the world. Because when we stop whispering, we can start a revolution. So I want to put out a plug to join us live this Tuesday for a special airing uh, of Through the Eyes of Survivors at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. The special podcast recording is with our amazing partner, camp. Amanda, give them just a brief description of what fight camp does and what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, fight camp is a boxing um, club that they have online where they have different equipment that does boxing. It helps you whether you're an immediate like boxing that like you've done it for years or you're just wanting to start. It gives you different memberships, different equipment. They're very passionate about helping survivors. They've also had I believe Mike Tyson test some of their equipment. So they're definitely, they call themselves like the Peloton of boxing with their equipment. So they have some awesome things that they have.
Yes, and so they're going to come on and talk some more about that and what they're doing to help partner with our organization to help survivors. And we'll be discussing our run for her and how Fight Camp is helping to support us in that. And we will be giving exclusive giveaways away during our show live, so you don't want to miss that. And then we'll be back also on Wednesday again and hear from one of our board members, Mari Morning, talking about her organization that she has called Be Free to Fly. So you don't want to miss that one either. So please stay tuned with us and always remember, tell your story and let her rip. And we thank you for joining us today.
Bye guys. Thank you.